they can actually view the recording. So welcome everyone. I'm delighted to welcome Miss Vaishnavi, and I think Miss Shilpa is also here from Mindler. Miss Vaishnavi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Shilpa, here.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. How are you?
Good to have you here again.
Good to be here. Thank you.
And so we can begin our session, Vaishnavi ma'am. I've put it on recording so that those who are not here will actually be able to.
Ma'am, you may need to be able to give controls to Vaishnavi to be able to share screen, because it was giving me a message saying that since I'm an attendee, I can't share the screen in case I need to. It's giving her the same message. You might need to be able to allow her to become an organizer.
Done it. Actually, I have done it.
Okay, Vaishnavi, आप try करिए अभी. Let me just check what the scene is.
Hello?
Yeah, Vaishnavi, Vaishnavi, you might need to speak a little louder.
Okay.
There you are. Now it's okay.
Is it fine now? I think I just lost. I had to come back. So, ma'am, can we start?
Yeah, please do.
So, do we have all the students or just one class, ma'am, here?
No, actually, we've invited 9 to 12 whole lot, but all of them have not joined so far. I'm requesting the teachers to invite the students from their classes. But meanwhile,
so students who are not here, we'll probably send out a document with the instruction as to how you can actually access the Mindler dashboard.
Right.
And for the students right now, I'll just quickly take 10 minutes and share how to take the assessment, and then we can probably move to the career session. So I hope you're able to see the presentation.
Yes, we are.
Great. So good evening, students. Thank you all for joining in. So today we will be starting with the discussion about how exactly you can access your Mindler dashboard. And after that, we will continue with the career session. Now, you would have received email ID and password in your email, as well as your ma'am would have shared that with you. So this is a unique email and password. So make sure that you're not sharing with your friends. Now, what you need to do with that email ID and password is basically go to this website called www.mindler.com. Once you reach here, on your top right, you will have this option of login. Now, once you click on login, it will ask you for your email ID and password. Please enter the one which we've shared with you. Once you log in, this is your personalized dashboard. Now, this is where you can have access to roadmap, exam corner, your assessment, blogs, career library, etc. Now, for now, you all have to actually focus on assessment. Now, this assessment, as you can see, so you just have to click on start test, and you will be coming here. Now, this is where you will start your assessment. So your assessment is divided into 5 parameters. Now, each parameter will have its own instructions. So make sure that you're reading these test instructions before attempting the questions. Now, except the aptitude section, all the other 4 sections are basically not time-based. So you can take your own time to answer these questions, and there are no right or wrong answers. So you will be given a situation and you'll be given 4 options. So whichever best describes you, or however you will kind of approach that situation, you will have to kind of answer that. In the aptitude section, we have time-based questions. So aptitude will have subsections, and each subsection will have a timer attached to it, and you will be able to see the clock on your screen. Second is it will have right or wrong answer. Thirdly, make sure that you have a pen and a paper while attempting the aptitude section. Now, this entire assessment, if you sit at one go takes about 2 hours. But as I mentioned, you can take your own time to complete the assessment. If you want to do, let's say, 3 sections today and maybe 2 sections later on, you can do that. But the order of sections will remain the same. So you move from orientation style to emotional quotient. Now, because this will help you understand your strength areas, what kind of person you are, your interest areas, make sure that you are answering questions in the most authentic way. You are answering honestly. You're not asking your, cousin or sibling or your parents to answer your assessment. The more honest you are, closer will be your best fit career matches. Now, once you're done with the entire assessment, this is how the results will look like. So you will be given 5 different career matches. Now, for class 10th, 11th, and 12th, we will be recommending what are the 5 best career matches for you. And for class 9th, we will be suggesting what are the best fit stream matches for you. Now, once you have an idea, okay, out of the entire ocean of careers, these are the 5 areas which I think I should be considering based on my aptitude. You can click on explore this career to understand more about the career, to have a greater detailed information on those careers. Once you're done with this, I would request you to fill your profile. So on your screen, on the left side, you'll have this My Profile section. This is where you have to fill in your details. It will ask you for your name, father's name, mother's name, their occupation, your marks, etc. And that will help you unlock your detailed career report. Now, this is a comprehensive report which will help you understand with respect to whatever sections we analyzed, what exactly did we actually analyze, what does that mean, what is your score in that, how can we improve that. All of these aspects will be covered in this detailed report. This can only be unlocked once you fill in your profile bit. In addition to that, you have this option of career library. So I was mentioning about the detailed information on careers. So you can go to the Mindler career library. This is where you will have over 200 careers, detailed information. So something like, let's say, law. So you will have description about that. What are the professional opportunities? What is the career path? How do I get into law? What are the important aspects I should keep in mind if I want to pursue something like this? What are the leading colleges? What are the leading colleges outside India? What is the exam pattern like? What are the different, so this was career library, which is more around static information, factual information. Blogs is more around whatever career confusions, students have these days. Blog is a good way to address those confusions. So we have kind of curated a lot of different topics, something like if I want to take up science, but I don't want to study engineering, what are the other career options? If I love bio and I'm not able to clear NEET, what other careers I can consider with bio? Or if I hate mathematics, what are the career options I have? So all of these questions, these confusions are answered in this blog, and we keep updating this blog section every 10 days. We have a new blog, and even the career library is something which is updated as and when information change in any of the career or entrance exam. So this is what we have quickly without any further delay, because it's already 5:30. This is what we wanted to cover. We will be covering with respect to different workshops on careers, as well as depending on what class you are in, we will have different set of workshops. But for now, if Shilpa ma'am is online, we can move directly to the career information.
Yeah, absolutely ready. Would you be able to share your screen for the presentation? Yes. All right. So thank you, Vaishnavi, for giving me and everyone else the data on how to be able to access their assessment. I know it may seem like it was a lot of information that just came your way, but just take it easy. Go on the website and be able to go through. I want to be able to give you information today about how we're looking at careers and what we want to be able to explore in detail, so that you now have elements that you start thinking about. We want to be able to do sort of like a deep dive. for you to be able to understand what are the options and combinations that are available to you. All right. So you have, if you're going to choose a stream and you're in 10th, or you're already in 11th, then you'd be choosing, you already are in a particular stream, what are the opportunities you can explore. The aim of the exercise is both in 10th and 11th to get a clearer idea of what we can do, so that when you are getting towards 12th, you are able to then work towards kind of building a plan A, B, and C. All right. So some of the most common careers that come up, we're going to cover the common ones as well and what are the well-known ones. But our aim is also to be able to have you understand some of the more new age careers that we're talking about as well. Okay. So when you think about careers, and you think about careers like, UI UX operator, or you think of a career that has to do with like drones, or you have to do a career that has to do with, say, social media marketing or anything like that. What are some of the things you think that will end up happening that are in common amongst some of these? So one or two of you just kind of, I think we can, yeah, here we go. So machine learning or ethical hacking, or we look at, big data analyst, and these are some of the terms that we keep hearing. What do these all have in common? Can somebody unmute? Where are all my participants? There we are. Let me just move the block to the other side so I'm going to be able to see. So what are some of the what is one or two things that they have in common? Tell me what they have in common.
Technology.
Technology. All right. Wonderful. Good job. Anybody else? What do they have in common? So you're absolutely right. Tech is one thing they do have in common. Is there anything else they have in common? Yeah, whoever else would like to be able to speak. Go ahead and speak, no problem. Anyone else? One more person. One more person, tell me. Your guess. Aryan Gupta. Aryan Gupta will tell me. Aryan, your guess? I'm just generally looking at names now, no? So I'm happily volunteering people. Aryan, any guess on technology is one? Anything else that comes to mind? Anybody else? Anything else that comes to mind?
I think creativity. Creativity over here, what I'm able to see.
Okay, great. So creativity also coming through. Wonderful. So we've got technology and creativity coming together. Outstanding. Both those areas are absolutely right. Those do come into play and are in play over here as well. But the interesting thing that comes into mind mostly is the fact that in 2007, 2010, about 10, 11 years ago, or even if you looked at it, like none of these existed in 2007. So if you're looking at about 10, 12 years ago, or about 10, 15 years ago, these jobs weren't there. They didn't even exist in 2007. And now we use them at such common terms right now, where we say there's an ethical hacker or a drone operator or a social media marketing course, and they become very common. So the one thing you have to remember is that there is going to be rapid amounts of change that's going to take place, just like how change is taking place right now in and around you every day. New types of work, new types of jobs coming up. We want to talk about the fact that you need to keep pace with that change, okay? So aspects of artificial intelligence, aspects of machine learning, aspects of being able to work with technology are going to be a far more coherent and cohesive part of your everyday life. All right, so let's move on to the next slide, please. So let's talk about what are some of the options that we want to look at. So I'm going to touch on some of these careers, talk about them a little bit, and let's see what we can come up with. So some of the new age careers that are coming in, let's talk about those as well. Let's go to the world of sciences first. So those of you who've chosen science as a stream in PCM, I'd like you to be able to pay attention. Those who might be thinking about PCM, I want you to pay attention. These are to give you an idea, all right? So the most common thing, and those of you who have chosen other streams, please be patient with me. I will come to your streams as well, not to worry. So PCM actually has a wide variety of careers that are under it. One of the most common careers that we have associated with PCM, of course, is engineering. So when somebody says, I want to do PCM, the first question we usually ask them is, do you want to be an engineer? Right? And that's the first thing that we tell them. But actually, apart from engineering, there are a lot of other options that you can have with PCM as well. So engineers basically do what? Tell me what the job of an engineer is. Somebody tell me in a simple definition, what is the job of an engineer? What is the job of an engineer? Somebody who wants to become an engineer in the future, tell me. What is the job of an engineer? Quickly tell me, one person tell me, what is the job of an engineer? Anyone. Guess kar lo, no problem.
Ma'am, they make new things, ma'am.
They make new things. Okay, good. Yeah.
I think they deal with machines.
They deal with machines, they make new things, they deal with machines. Excellent. So actually engineering at the core of it is taking scientific application, scientific theory and turning into an application. So for example, you will have motion and that gets turned into a car. Now there's obviously a lot more that goes into it than just my being so simplistic about it. Or you have elements that are related to friction and that could get turned into a sanding machine. You have aspects related to pulleys and weights, and that could get turned into a crane or anything else. So when you're looking at a scientific principle, and then what happens is you have an application that comes built with it. So engineers at the base of it and at the core of it are problem solvers. They try to find solutions to everything. They try to find a solution to everyday problems that are in and around us. We need to get from point A to point B in a clean, safe environment and a place. Okay, there'll be a road for it. There will be there'll be an aeroplane for it, or there will be some form of transportation like a railway created for it. All of it is finding solutions. So engineers at the base of it are solution finders. There are different types of engineering. And in engineering, the interesting thing that happens is in India, engineering is an entrance exam based option. And you have to study the subjects, obviously, of physics, chemistry, and mathematics. But the element is, what you need to remember is engineering chooses you, you do not choose engineering. So what line of engineering you want to get into is massively and majorly dependent on the rank that you will get in your different engineering exams. So those of you who might be thinking about wanting to pursue engineering, physics, chemistry, and mathematics will need to be strong. And you will need to make sure that you try and be able to score well so that you are able to get the line of engineering you want. What are some of those types? Mechanical engineering, by definition, obviously with the word mechanical in it, means dealing with machines. There is electrical engineering and electronic engineering. Can somebody tell me the difference? Can somebody quickly tell me the difference between electrical and electronic? Very quickly.
None.
Yeah.
An electronic could be like a device, and electrical, it's the electricity which is running.
Outstanding. Very good. So, say for example, your laptop or your phone is electronic. So they take, and electrical is the big tension wires outside where the electricity is moving. So in electronic, what happens is they take all of that energy and power and they harness it into a machine. It could be an air conditioner, it could be a phone, it could be a laptop, it could be anything at all. Okay. Then there is elements like automobile engineering, which partly is mechanical engineering, and then you learn how to be able to apply all of those mechanics into a car. So mechanical engineering and a large part of automobile engineering is also mechanical engineering. So in mechanical engineering, they tell you how to be able to run the machine. In automobile engineering, it's if this machine stops, how do we get to start it again? There is of course elements related to software engineering, which is all about coding, etc. You also have a very specialized area within PCM, which is known as robotics, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but that's at a later stage. So engineering is one element that you can look at. But apart from engineering, there are also other areas that you need to be able to think about. For example, if you want to be able to build a building, all right, you want to design and build a building, you want to design a building, you look at architecture. Now, if you want to build a building, you look at engineering. That's where civil engineering will come. So a civil engineer is somebody who is going to look at land structures. They're going to look at what kind of soil there is. They're going to look at what kind of weather a place has to be able to build the building that an architect has designed. If you're somebody who enjoys drawing, you're somebody who enjoys science, you think that you would like to be able to think about how to create a space and how people would use that space, architecture could be an option for you. Again, architecture has an entrance exam based option to it as well, where architecture they will do an entrance exam. They will talk about, your drawing skills will be checked, but they also want to be able to understand creatively from you. Do you understand how a space is being used properly? Right? And who is going to use this space? So does this space suit those type of people? So whether it's a hospital or a hotel or a school or a home or an apartment, who is going to use this? How is it going to be used? So the architect is responsible for that. Computer applications and IT, of course, is about not only designing and elements related to coding, it's also about the hardware, and that is also related to physics, chemistry, and mathematics. Aviation, of course, is all about flying planes and being able to do that, and not just piloting them, but you also need to be able to understand what's happening on the inside of that machine, because you're responsible for this machine and to be able to pilot people from place to place. So there's a lot of responsibility of lives on. The merchant navy, as opposed to the Jai Hind Indian Navy that we have, is merchant by that main simple word defines it for you. Movement of goods from place to place. So for example, if we buy oil from Venezuela, all right, India buys oil from Venezuela. How will Venezuela send me that oil? They can't send it to me in little bottles. They can't send it to me in a plane. They can't put it in little plastic bags and send it to me one by one. What they do is they put it in large containers on a ship, and that ship sails and it comes to India. So the merchant navy actually allows you to travel all over the world. And the merchant navy gives you the option of being able to see the world by traveling around, taking things from one place to the other. Good money. Disadvantage is you're out at sea for about 6 months of the year at least. But as you get more senior, you have 3 months on and then 3 months off. So it is actually a really great job to be able to look at like that. Ethical hacking is a space which is a very exciting space to be in, and according to NASSCOM, we require about close to 75,000 ethical hackers every year. We produce about 25,000 odd. So there is a huge gap in the Indian market when it comes to ethical hackers. Ethical hackers basically are people who secure systems. A hacker is somebody who breaks into a system to be able to then figure out how is it that that system can be made vulnerable. But an ethical hacker, on the other hand, is somebody who's trying to secure the system. They're trying to make sure that the system is safe. So ethical hackers work everywhere. Ethical hackers work in banks, they work in companies, they work with schools, they work with consulting companies. They make sure that there is no way to breach this wall of security that a company requires. All right. So these are some of the areas we can look at. Now, when we look at any career, we need to also be able to be aware of what's happening in the world around us at that time when it comes to that industry. So for example, if we were to say aviation, we need to be careful and watch around what's happening in the world right now when it comes to the economy. The aviation industry with the pandemic has taken a huge hit, right? So by the time that you guys get out of school, which is going to be a while, the aviation industry would have picked back up. So when you're looking ultimately at making choices, being aware of what's happening in the world also will make a difference on how you pick the industry you get into. It's not just about a job, it's about ensuring there is a long-term or a medium to long-term prospect in that job. So the basic thing you need to remember when it comes to PCM, if you want to sail a ship, if you want to fly a plane, you want to design a building, you want to build a building, you want to be able to hack into and secure a computer, you need PCM. All right. Ethical hacking also is usually now still in diploma form. There are a couple of places that will offer you a course in it, but mostly ethical hacking is in diploma format. All right. Let's move forward to the next slide and talk about some of the other interesting areas that are still there with PCM that some of us don't know about totally. So apart from just the aspects which we traditionally look at, PCM will also give you options that are related to biotechnology, or that are related to technology being used in being able to find out about, say, diseases and how they move. So areas like bioinformatics will come up again. Okay, yeah, here we go. So even elements like the defense forces so certain aspects of the defense forces open to you if you have PCM only. For example, the Navy and the Air Force require PCM. The Army is open to you from all streams. So that's not an issue. But if you want to get into the Navy or the Air Force, you need PCM. If you want to get into game development, all right, now not just playing games, but developing them, and not the designing of it, but the actual coding of the game. And everybody is very sad because there is no more PUBG. It is gone. It is so sad there is no more PUBG, right? But there was somebody sitting back coding all of PUBG, and now we will have 4G, it seems, but that's okay. Let's figure out what the Indian gaming industry managed to do. Esports is a huge industry. So it's actually can be through the coding side a fairly viable space to get into. But for that, you do require PCM to be able to learn that and coming through the coding element. Product design is one of the areas of design, actually, even though design is open from all streams, that product design you do better if you have PCM. So everything we use, every single thing we use, from our headphones to our pens to our water bottles to containers that we put food in, every single thing has a design behind it, right? And so therefore, product designers have to understand the elements of science that go behind a particular product, and so that your fan is able to rotate with air better, so that your phone or your pen or your glasses all work better. If they need to be aerodynamic or not, how do they work? All of those things require elements of science. Can I get into product design even if I don't have science? Yes, but it is easier if you do. So it is it's better if you have science to get into product design. Flavor chemistry is a very interesting space. Here you have a little bit more focus onto chemistry, but all of the things that you eat, all your chips, all your sauces, every single thing that you have that has a flavor to it, like okay, this tastes like onions, this tastes like cheese, or whatever it is, all of those things have been worked on by somebody who understands flavor chemistry and who's focused and done that in the lab, and they've created those flavors. So a lot of large companies like Hindustan Unilever or Kraft Foods, the ones you eat cheese from, or any of those, Amul, etc., they all have flavor chemists who work for them, who create the flavors for the food that we eat. Physical sciences is actually about understanding the world. So it's about understanding astronomy, it's understanding where the stars are going, it's understanding what's happening with black holes, it's understanding what is dark matter, and being able to understand the world around us. Okay, so a lot more elements of research, a lot more elements of exploration. Those are the aspects that come in from the physical science. Robotics is an area that comes from any field of engineering. So I can be an engineer, electrical, electronic, mechanical, automobile. I could be software engineer. It does not matter. Robotics is a post-graduation option that a lot of institutes will offer, as long as you come from any one of the lines of engineering. All right, so you can look at that. Now, a lot more elements happening in robotics related to, artificial intelligence being used for language, robots that are able to speak to you, etc., etc. So some blending in with the humanities, languages, and those areas will also come in. Robotics is being used a great deal in medicine when it comes to very, very precise surgeries like eye surgery or brain surgery. So robotics actually being used in medicine a lot. Robotics being used in the automobile industry. This is what allows Honda to put together a car in 6 seconds. Is robotics. Otherwise, physically picking up and doing that would take a while. So Honda is able to assemble a car that quickly. And that's pretty much what it is that you're looking at when it comes to applications in robotics. In India, the applications in robotics have primarily been for the automotive sector, and some application has been in medicine. As time goes, and is happening now, the application for robotics is going to grow in every single sector when it comes to India also. Opportunities, therefore, will be fairly expansive in India also. Let's move to the next slide. All right, so what we want to be able to look at now is, of course, PCB. All my commerce people in 11th, please patient. Also, my humanities people, please be patient. However, there are applications that you have in each of these sectors. So you need to be able to think about that a little bit. Now, PCB, physics, chemistry, biology, obviously, we wonder, I really love bio. Why do I have to study physics and chemistry with it? All my PCB students are thinking, why do I have to study physics and chemistry if I so love bio so much? Because in the Indian education system, ek ke saath do free. So you are getting PC free with your biology. All right. Now, what will happen? What happens? Most common thing when someone says PCB, you're like, doctor banna. You want to be a doctor? That's so cool. But not necessarily that medicine is the only thing you can look at. Medicine you should look at, and you should explore if you're very excited about being a doctor. But there are lots of other areas that are related to medicine that will still keep you close to medicine, where you're still able to help people in the long run, that are also great areas to explore. So we'll talk about those in a minute as well. So medicine, of course, entrance exam based option. September 13th was the NEET exam, the one exam you have to give to become a doctor. Physics, chemistry, bio is 11th and 12th will be part of syllabus of what you need to study, obviously. But medicine is a role that is obviously revered as, and right now in the situation we're in, our medical professionals and our doctors have really come into the limelight. It is very much a profession that asks for service more than any other. All right. And so therefore, it's very important for you to remember that there is a long time spent studying. That means on an average, in order for you to do your MBBS, it requires about 6.5 years. This is including the residency. Then there is a specialization if you choose to, and a super specialization. All right. Those add on another 4 years about total. So you're looking about 10.5 years of study time. However, remember that in India, we have the specializations, super specializations, and we do an entry into medicine immediately. Outside of India, you need to be able to have studied something else at the graduation. There is no direct entry into medicine. So I can study psychology, I can study biology, I can study chemistry as pre-med and then get into medicine as well afterwards. So outside of India, there is a base course and then you get into medicine. Inside of India, it's a direct entry into medicine. Even if you want to go to study outside of India to study medicine directly in some other countries where it's allowed to study directly, you would still need to give the NEET. Okay, so the NEET is there no matter what, whether you want to study medicine in India or outside of India. Now, doctors are there to be able to help us, feel better. The wellness industry and the healthcare industry is actually going to grow. A lot more attention is going to get paid on holistic healing, where you're looking at not just dealing a particular symptom or very specialized move, but there is going to be more elements of wellness and looking at handling a person as a whole when it comes to healing as well. So those of you who would like to become doctors in the future would need to understand that more and more of a trend is going to shift that way. If you feel that, I want to be able to give a shot for medicine, but what if I don't clear it and don't make it, then what? You can always look at areas like allied medicine. Allies are people who are our friends. So allied medicine is those areas of medicine that help doctors make diagnosis. So radiology, pathology, optometry, these are all people who are helping you make the sense of what is wrong with the patient, right? So an ally of medicine, the ally of the doctor. And these areas are also courses that you can apply for and study, not requiring an entrance in most places. You can get into nutrition and fitness. You can look at food and agriculture. This doesn't mean you become a farmer. Unfortunately, that's massively in the news right now. But it's not about just farming, but it's about how are you creating better crop yields? How are you making sure that this crop burning that's happening doesn't need to happen? How are you making sure you have crops that are going to withstand different weathers, or that are going to be able to handle less monsoons, keeping climate change in mind? So food and agriculture is also about sustainable development and sustainable growth of food as well is looked at in food and agriculture. Nutrition, fitness, of course, you look at your health and wellness. Life science and environment is about studying areas like botany, or you're studying wildlife, or you're looking at conservation. And those are areas that you explore with life science and environment, again, requiring PCB. Veterinary sciences is a very interesting area to get into if you like animals more than you like people. You can look at veterinary medicine. It's a little bit cheaper to set up a vet's practice than it is to set up a doctor's clinic. But you have great advantages being a veterinarian. You can work in national parks, you can work with zoos, you can work with stud farms, you can work in the Indian Forest Service, and you can do that. And so really great areas to get into there. But also, your patients don't talk back to you. They're really friendly for the most part. Even if they do bite you, they feel pretty bad, but that's okay, part of the hazard. That way your human patients can also bite you also. But veterinary science is to be able to help you work with animals instead of human beings, and also requiring PCB. You can set up your own private practice as well if you want, and to be able to help nice puppies and kittens and all sorts of budgie guards and everybody come in to be able to get help from you. So that is also an option, and a lot more well qualified vets required. All right, let's move to the next slide. I know I'm giving you a lot of data, but just bear with me, because these are things you should know about. So another way, a really great way to be close to medicine even though not directly in it and not have to go through the timeline in terms of studying. Unless you're very passionate about becoming a doctor, you should think about this. Pharmacology actually in pharmacy is a great space to look at also as an area that's connected to medicine, helps you stay close to it. Pharmacists don't only work in creation of medicines. Pharmacists also work in research companies, in fast-moving consumer goods companies. They work in cosmetics companies to be able to create formulas, to be able to create pain medicine, to be able to create nutraceuticals. Nutraceuticals are your supplements, cosmeceuticals like hair cream, face cream, etc. So pharmacists are required for that. They work a lot with nanotechnology, which is another really exciting area you can get into when you get into science. Nano means really small, right? So nanotechnology is another area that pharmacy uses a lot, where drug delivery mechanisms are much smaller. So a lot more drug packed into like a tiny little capsule for you to take. So you want to take your turmeric, or you want to take your immune booster, or you want to take your medicine to be able to make your hair or skin better. All of that is all what pharmacists are also working on, apart from drug development and discovery. So they also work on being able to create new medicines, new molecules, and working with new salts, etc. But there's also that element that comes in the cosmetics industry, the food industry. All of those areas also use pharmacists. Agriculture, like we've spoken about earlier, again, is about crop development, crop yield, sustainable growth, organic farming, all of those areas. Genetics tends to usually be a post-graduation option, where you're looking at genetic engineering, you're looking at genetic development. There's elements like cloning, where we've had Dolly the sheep in the past, and not just with animals, but also with like plants, where you're able to splice genes together to be able to create a plant that withstands the cold. So a lot of you might have heard of CRISPR, which is pretty much at-home gene editing that's happening right now. So much more accessible gene editing, where the implications, of course, have ethics involved in it as to, can you switch on and off genes? Should you be switching on and off genes? Who chooses what to switch on and off? So a lot of interesting areas that come in from genetics. Home science gives you a really wide variety of areas that you can study, from nutrition to fitness to early childhood development. To aspects related to culinary arts, to some aspects of event management, etc. All of those areas come in home science. Forensic science, of course, is everybody's what? CID. You will have that one doctor. I always forget his name. Doctor what? Somebody tell me his name. I've forgotten his name. Salunke, no? Have I said it right? I think I've said it right. So he'll be there, and he will be cutting up the person to be able to check how this person died. Now, why do I need physics, chemistry, or maths, or even biology to be able to understand forensics? Because, say, for example, that you want to find out if somebody got murdered, and so at the scene of the crime, you will see which direction did the blood spatter go in, how much velocity. So all of those people who watch Dexter know that that's exactly what Dexter used to do. Okay, he was a serial killer, is a separate story, but he was also watching to see where it went. Was the person standing, sitting? How was it done? All of that is understanding of physics. If there's poisoning, you need to understand chemistry. Obviously, you understand biology when it comes to degeneration, to figure out how long somebody's been dead, and to be able to help find the cause of death. So these areas are open to you from PCB and PCM if you want to be able to look at it. Okay, so these are options that you can explore. Let's move to the next slide. I'm moving forward with other streams as well, but for class 10, it's important for them to understand these are the elements that will come to them. Clinical research, of course, environment sciences, of course, these are areas you can explore. Let's talk about commerce, and let's talk about the world of commerce. When we look at commerce and say, what is it going to be? A lot of times people come up with only one thing, where they say either you want to be a chartered accountant if you've taken commerce, or you want to get into do a BCom. But commerce is just so much more than that, right? Commerce is about understanding how this world functions in the world of business and management. So from areas related to entrepreneurship, which is about having your own business, which can be about anything actually. So like, there is a gentleman who sells cans of fresh air. There are pet grooming places where you can go and get your dog or cat a nice, shampoo and blow dry, and they do their manicure and pedicure. Also a legit business. You have a business in Japan that sells you square watermelons. They're so much easier to store, so much easier to take from place to place. You have a business that will take the ashes of a loved one and turn them into a diamond in a highly pressurized scenario. So you can wear that around your neck. Sort of creepy, but it can be done. So that's also a business, legit business. Entrepreneurship is very exciting because you can be from any area and have your own business. You could be a chemist, a biologist, you could be a scientist, you could be a health and wellness person, you could be a doctor, you can have your own business and you're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur basically means having your own business, all right? So entrepreneurship open to you from commerce, definitely. Now, when you're looking at management, so areas like marketing and advertising, sales, logistics, these are all departments within management. So when you study management, or like what is known as a BBA or an MBA later, which is a Masters of Business Administration, you learn how to run a company. All right, they give you the toolkit on how to run a company. They'll teach you about all the different departments. They tell you about all the different areas so that you are able to learn how to do that. So, for example, sales is say for example, I create a pen and I want to be able to sell a pen, and I make this beautiful pen. Now I'm gonna need a factory, I'm gonna need production, I'm gonna need raw material, I'm gonna need people, I'm gonna need all that. So they're going to tell me about where, I'm going to be able to, how I set up my company. So that's operations. The people I need is human resources. Where will I get the money from is finance. How will I sell this in the market is sales. So how my salespeople will go. Now all these people give me orders for my beautiful pen that I want to be able to sell. So I need to move it from place to place in trucks. That's distribution and logistics. All of those areas are elements that you will learn. And how do I track each order is IT and operations also. So all of those elements you learn in the Bachelor's of Business Administration. Banking and finance open to you from commerce as well. A lot of students take a BCom or a BBA and then do the banking exam, where you can work if you want to work in a government bank, or you can go and do a BBA and an MBA and then join a private bank as well and still be part of banking and finance. Okay. Within management, is maths a prerequisite? Do you need maths? Can you not do management without maths? If you have maths, it's an advantage. But even if you do this without mathematics, it is possible. There are institutes that will allow you to do that. So you do have the option of being able to do that in the long run. All the different areas like marketing, sales, etc., all also become part of the banking sector in terms of retail banking and movement of goods and services, right? Let's move to the next slide. So big data analytics is one thing that I do want to cover here while we're moving to the next slide. So big data analytics coming massively into the news right now and massively into play. Big data analytics, and then I covered these areas for you, so give you a chance to look at this. So big data analytics is being used everywhere. What big data analytics primarily means is all my information and data that I generate every day when I'm online, whether it is that I'm buying something on Amazon, whether I'm watching something on Hotstar or on Netflix, how much time I spent on Instagram, how much time I spent on Facebook, what did I look at, how long did I look at it for, all of that information is critical and useful for the person who is created that platform, right? And they are going to utilize that to be able to either market information to me, sell me data, sell me things, or they're going to be able to use that data to be able to give me information about things I'm interested in. I would recommend very highly all of you please watch the documentary on Netflix if you have access to Netflix, called Social Dilemma. It talks about big data analytics in a very interesting manner on how social media actually influences the way we think, and how slowly social media has managed to influence how we think about a lot of things, from who we vote for, to what we like, to what kind of shows we watch, to what kind of content gets created, right? So it's important to use. Somebody's unmuted. Somebody wanted to ask a question.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what is the name of the documentary, if you could tell me?
Social Dilemma.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. That's on Netflix. All right. It's on Netflix already. Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yeah. Yeah. So excellent documentary. Very, very interesting how it breaks down social media for everyone. I think all of you guys should definitely be watching. Okay, because we do spend a long time on social media. You should understand where your information and how it's being used, and the fact that how much control do you have over that, and to be able to control what you do online. Therefore, so the big data analytics will have to have a little bit more of an understanding of statistics. Now, big data analytics is not just about selling you something. It's not just about Amazon being able to sell you something. Big data analytics also get used by government. Okay, for example, the whole testing aspect that's happening with COVID right now, for them to be able to figure out, get data, figure out where are the hotspots, for them to be able to figure out how many beds in a hospital more required, how many more beds in general required for ICU. When it comes to say like a polio drive or a pulse polio drive or anything. So public health will use big data analytics. When you're looking at aspects related to say even your school, how many people come from a particular neighborhood, which bus route has to be more buses and which one needs to be less. That's also data analytics. That's looking at information and making sense of it. Where can this be used? So governments use data analytics, consulting uses data analytics, marketing companies use data analytics. Of course, social media, social platforms use data analytics. Almost every single individual and entity now uses some form of data analysis. So it's important for you to remember that it's an area that's going to be hot for the next 20 years. And you need to remember, if you are good with numbers, if you're comfortable with statistics, this is a great space for you to be able to explore. A lot more courses that are now being offered on data analytics that are coming in from good universities. Those of you who might be interested in data analytics, and you can be from any stream there, the commerce side is there, but you can be humanities if you have maths, PCM if you have maths, PCB if you're interested in it, it doesn't matter, check it out. There are a lot of online courses you can check out as well in data analytics. Give it a shot, do a basic course now online and do like a free basic course, get your feet wet a little bit. It will be a good skill to have no matter what you choose. No matter what, whether you choose psychology or English or literature or anything, this is a good skill to have in your kitty. Okay, so just think about data analytics there. Sports management or spa management can be areas that are offshoots. Once you've studied management, you get into a very specialized area. Sports management will allow you to stay close to sports even if you're not playing. A lot of sports management graduates come from regular backgrounds of either commerce and do an MBA in sports management. Some of them even come from physical education backgrounds. Sports management can have elements related to, say, for example, sponsorship. Or so it's like Pepsi IPL, right? Or you have management of the talent. So you have a Kabaddi league or a Vijender Singh or a Mary Kom or somebody like that, and managing that talent, or managing a particular team like a hockey league or even a cricket team, right? There will be a sports manager for that. It could be about just managing the operations, like, okay, the match will take place here, these many people will come, is everything functioning? So lots of different aspects there. Some overlaps with event management takes place, but this is more about keeping you close to sports, even though you may not be professionally playing. All right. Supply chain management, of course, is a subset within management. How things move back and forth, and digital marketing is all about being what we've been doing and doing now is everything is being marketed to us digitally. And the pandemic has made sure that all of these things are done digitally now. So digital marketing has suddenly shot up. How are you capitalizing on search words? How do people, when they search for something, make sure your website shows up first? How do you ensure that the candidate or client or potential customer clicks on your ad to take you to a particular website to buy? All of those aspects related to digital marketing. Those of you studying psychology or wanting to study psychology, aspects of how psychology will help with managing people, selling things, marketing, all of those things also overlap. So psychology basis can still take you into management and these areas also. Let's move forward. So these are some of the areas you can also explore. Now, of course, the common ones that we've all heard of, chartered accountancy, which everybody knows. When you say commerce, everyone says CA. But chartered accountancy does not require you specifically to be from commerce. Most people are from commerce because the first year of chartered accountancy and the first year of BCom are same. Chartered accountancy is the easiest exam to fail. Okay, so chartered accountancy, it does what? Chartered accountants work with individuals, they work with businesses, they can work actually anywhere, and they can run their own practice also. They help people make money, they help businesses make money, they help you understand how you can optimize your money, how you can save your money. So they can work for you as an individual and help you with things like taxes. They can work with a company to be able to help the company do well in that area as well. Those are also spaces you can explore. A company secretary, on the other hand, is someone who looks a lot like a class monitor. in the sense that maintaining law and order and rules is the class monitor's job. A company secretary's job is to make sure the company is following the rules. Have you filed the right taxes? Do you have all the right paperwork in place? All of that is a company secretary's job. Actuarial science is an area that doesn't usually get explored a great deal, but actuaries are people who work in the insurance sector primarily, but actuaries actually can work in consulting, they can work in management, they can work anywhere there is risk, there is an actuary. What do actuaries do? Actuaries work on making sure that, say, for example, in the insurance sector, that an insurance policy gets created keeping all risk elements in mind. So things like a person's age, their work, their income, their genetics, the city they live in, what kind of conditions that city has, what kind of road conditions, how many accidents take place, what kind of cleanliness is in that city. So premiums, which is the amount you have to pay for your life insurance or any insurance, go up and down depending on that. Right? And so actuarial science, like chartered accountancy and company secretary, are correspondence courses. There is no college for it. So you can study your BCom or your maths or your stats and side by side do any three of these and you can go ahead and get your degree. Now, actuarial science is fairly tough. You have about 13 papers that you need to be able to do, and on an average, congratulations, we have found something that takes longer than medicine. On an average, it takes 8 to 12 years to become an actuary in India. But there are less than 350 actuaries in the entire country. So it's a lot of money. If you love maths, if you love stats, if you love these two areas, if you love mathematics, please ensure you check out actuarial science. Okay, so if you get 100 on 100 in maths and you're the maths genius, definitely check out actuarial science. So a chartered financial analyst will also similarly be able to look at how is it that management of funds is taking place, how is it that those, where to invest, what to be able to do with money. These are also professional courses you can do. Chartered accountancy, company secretary, actuarial science, no college. This is correspondence. All right, let's move to the next slide, please. You don't need to be a maths genius. Keep going. You don't need to be a maths genius, by the way, to be a chartered accountant. As long as you're comfortable with numbers, you're okay. So you don't really need maths genius there. Now let's look at some of the trending careers that come up with humanities. Some of these are open to you from all streams, actually. So let's look at something like psychology. Psychology is the study of mind and behavior. And to be able to understand how we think, what are the things that impact our thought process, what impacts memory, what are things like mental disorders and how do they get treated, how do you get people to buy more, how do you get people to connect with each other, how do you spend time understanding a person's motivations, if you're trying to sell them things, how is it that you can package it or word it in a certain way to be able to have more impact. So for example, some of you may not have been able to go to these places because of the pandemic, but say for example, things like all fast food restaurants or like Chinese restaurants, they all have red and yellow in them, right? Now that's done on purpose because red and yellow actually make you hungrier. So a lot of fast food places will have those colors. So if you eat on a red plate, you actually end up eating a lot more. And so if you eat on a white plate, you'll end up eating a little bit lesser. So it's interesting how psychology will help you understand all of those things. And that's one aspect. What can I do after I do psychology? I can look at being a therapist. I can look at being a counseling psychologist. I can get into career counseling. I can do MBA and I can become, I can work in human resources, but though it's not a prerequisite. I can, help people. I can get into mass media communication. I can get into game development and game design. I can work in marketing and sales, all of those areas. Okay, I'm back. Is everybody else back? I got kicked out for a minute. Am I audible?
Yes, we all there.
Okay, for some reason it knocked me out and then brought me back in for some reason. So, okay, so weird. All right. Did everybody manage to hear what I was saying about psychology, or did I get kicked out before that?
No, there was no interruption. There was no interruption.
Oh, okay. So it just showed it to me where it moved me out and back in. So my apologies. Okay, so design, of course, open to you from all streams. Also an entrance exam based option design is. If you're somebody who's an artist, you draw, you paint, you sketch, you make music, you make poetry, you write, you dance, all your creative endeavors should be put together for you to be able to apply to a design college, because they will ask you for a portfolio. In a portfolio, they want to be able to know how you're creative across. So if you do nail art, baking, cooking, hair braiding, anything that you do can be used as part of your portfolio. So design entrance exam. Psychology, merit based. They will look at your percentage when it comes to your admission. And there are some colleges that will offer you some very interesting subject combinations with your psychology to be able to give you very interesting flavor of things. So keep your mind open on psych. It's actually an area that's growing a great deal. I think the pandemic more than anything has actually showed us the importance of mental health and the fact that, you know, we need good psychologists. So if you like being able to help people, connect with them, be able to, you're the person everybody comes to tell their problems to, etc., psychology might not be a bad bet for you to be able to look at. Now, if you're also the person who knows all the gossip in the class, you know who it is, that what is happening, where it's happening, how it's happening, who went where, when, how, all of that, then you should explore mass media communication. So one area that will help you there would be journalism. Then, of course, mass media communication is much wider. Mass media communication has aspects like advertising. It has aspects like uh, radio, video, TV. It has aspects of photography. It's about understanding, and of course, journalism is a part of it. It's about understanding all of those areas and to be able to work in those spaces to choose then which part you want to get into. So mass media communication is for people who like interacting with people, being in and around people. You have decent communication skills, you're curious about what's happening in the world. All of those areas will make a really strong mass media communication person. You can do mass media and communication at the graduation level, or you can choose to do it later at the post-graduation level after having studied any subject of your choice at the graduation also. So for example, I can study psychology in graduation and then do mass media communication at post-graduation also, no problem. And I can then therefore have that option open as well at the PG level. Now, other areas that you can explore are also, like I said, design, entrance exam based option. The forms for design usually tend to come out a little bit earlier, but putting together all your creative work is a good way to start prepping for that. Design colleges, entrance exams, law entrance exams, hotel management entrance exams are all going to look at GK. They're all going to look at vocabulary. So those are areas you will need to work on. And these are great spaces to explore if you want to look at these. The civil services is open to you after graduation. You can begin preparing for it in the second year, but this is still far away. And the civil services will allow you to be able to work for the country, administrative services to run the country, foreign services to be able to go outside the country and talk about India's relations with other countries, and development of trade and cultural exchange and all of those as part of the civil services. The Indian Forest Service is the only one that has a prerequisite of science. Everything else for the services is open from all streams. All right. Hotel management, entrance exam based option. Academically, the entrance exam is not the scariest entrance exam ever. Basic maths, basic science of class 10, English, logical reasoning, GK. But it's an area of work that allows you to be able to be very hands-on. It's an area of work that allows you to explore travel and meeting with people and really getting to meet some interesting people. You can work with hotels, your restaurants, cruise lines, all of those places. And now hotel management graduates are more and more being used by large companies like, to manage buildings, to ensure that there is a certain level of service within that building, that they're maintained a certain way, that people are handled a certain way. So hospitality can the basics of hospitality come into even a large office building also. So those areas as well. Hotel management entrance exams usually take place in April. It's like I said, not the toughest entrance exam, but it's one that allows for a lot of very exciting things to happen at work. The other element you do need to remember with hotel management is, however, that it is a job that requires you to be on your feet a lot. It is a job that's a very people-facing job. It is a job that requires a great deal of patience. So it is physically taxing. And they teach you everything in a hotel management course, from cooking to chopping and to making basic sauces and to being able to make a bed and doing all that. They do that because at the end of the day, when you become a hotel management grad, you are going to have people who are going to be reporting into you. So they should know that you know how to do it, and then you know how to do it better. So they teach you everything. And I think the hotel management industry is the one industry where there's immense dignity of labor. So it's worth exploring to be able to get to travel the world and do all sorts of different things. But yes, it is physically taxing, and in the initial years doesn't pay hugely well. But the Indian hotel management grad is actually very well respected across the world. Does somebody have their hand up? Somebody has their hand up. Is it a question for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Good evening.
Pratna.
I wanted to ask a question.
Mhm.
What are some careers with sociology or anything which opens up from sociology?
I'll just come to that. Don't worry about it. Let me just finish this slide and I'll answer your specific question for you, Devanshi. Thank you. Law, of course, open to you from all streams, but also specifically from the humanities. Heavy duty reading required for law. Psychology also requires a lot of reading. So does mass communication, media, civil services also as well. So law open to you from all streams, but entrance exam option, or you can look at it at the post-graduation option as well. And you can look at those options when it comes to law. So you give an entrance exam to a 5-year integrated course, and you're done, sorted. Or you can say, I want to study psychology or biology, or I want to study English, or I want to study history, and then I move into law at the post-graduation level. Not everybody who studies law needs to be a perfect, brilliant orator. You can be a great researcher. You can be a great draftsperson. You don't need to go to court to be a lawyer. Those are very specific areas of law. That's called litigation, going to court. You can be in the writing part, corporate law, and be able to do that as well. So all of you who watch Suits, you know those are corporate lawyers as well as litigation lawyers. I would also like to caveat, law is not like Suits. It's not that fancy, and you don't get lit up. So you need to be able to remember, not like Suits. Okay, there's a lot of hard work involved in law that is there as well. All right, let's move to the next slide, please. And I'm coming to your sociology question. Don't worry, I've not forgotten. Move on. All right, great. So these are some other areas you can look at that are kind of, that are new age areas, that are new spaces to explore. They don't necessarily need to just be humanities. You can be from any stream. Now let's talk about sociology specifically. Sociology is the understanding of the society, how we function in this society, the structure of society, and what interaction happens between us and society and how that gets shaped. Areas related to sociology can work in, of course, research and academia. Those are the two common areas people go in with sociology, but you can use sociology also as a base to get into something called public policy, which is about creating laws and changing and analyzing policy and working in consulting. You can use sociology as a base, still go into management, use sociology as a base, still go into law, use sociology as a base, get into social service and social work. You can use sociology as a base to be able to get into international relations as well. Sociologists also work with large tech companies to be able to help understand. They also work with market research organizations to help understand how a group of people might think about particular services or products. Sociologists can also work in public health administration. And a lot of sociologists tend to choose to work in either the social work sector or they work in policy sectors to be able to drive policy in a country, and to analyze policy and drive it. So you work in consulting companies, you would work with think tanks, you would work with the government. Those are the areas there. Did I answer your question for you?
Yes, ma'am. It can also be used, I mean, as a base for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, most certainly. Of course, it can. Any subject can be. So your entrepreneurship base from sociology could be a company you start. That could be a market research company. That could be a company that does social work. It could be a company that does policy analysis. It can be any area. So most certainly it can. Why don't you check out the Mindler website when you finish your assessment? There is a whole. There should be an article on sociology and careers with sociology there.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. So yeah, do we have another slide, Vaishnavi? I think I've already gone way over time here. So Farul.
Ma'am, may I come in?
By all means, ma'am. Please, ma'am, please.
This is Ritu Jain, ma'am. I am as a facilitator for humanities. I saw in the last slide that you showed over there here that stand-up comedy and pet grooming. The question is how I'm not able to relate pet grooming and stand-up comedy with humanities.
So, ma'am, actually the thing is with the humanities, what happens is the area of everywhere there is creative thinking that takes place opens up, right? So when you're looking at areas like either stand-up comedy or even graphic design that come in through, an understanding of the world around us is what is important. That deeper understanding of the world around us actually comes only through the humanities, actually, to be able to understand through literature, to be able to understand through writing, through psychology, through sociology. Hence, those have been put in there. There are also newer areas. However, like I said, then they're open to you from all streams as well. You can be a science person or a maths person and still get into those areas. But the reason we plug them into the humanities is simply because a deeper understanding of the world comes only through the humanities to a large extent, where it's the coming together that takes place. So that's why those areas, especially when it comes to, say, stand-up comedy or being able to deal with people, understand people, that's where it comes through. We had a design slide also, no, Vaishnavi? Yeah. So design, I hope I answered your question, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right. You're welcome, ma'am. All right. So when we're looking at design, it's not just limited to fashion design. That's our first thought that comes in. Design also has to do with interiors. Design also has to do with visual merchandising, which means how storefront windows will look. Design also has to do with fashion communication. So like when you open up a magazine or you open up a site, how it's laid out, how the image is in a certain way, what is in bold, how it's going to visually look for me and you to read it is also fashion communication. Elements of design important there. Fine arts, of course, if you're an artist, you can look at the fine arts as well. Now, remember, designers are also being used a large amount by gaming companies, UI, UX companies, companies that make interfaces. So, say, for example, a Byju's could pick up a whole bunch of graphic designers or a whole bunch of designers to be able to design what their interface on the app is going to look like. Right, so not the coding of it, but the actual design of it. So designers will get work used there as well. Fashion design, of course, has to do with high fashion as well as ready to wear. You could look at jewelry design, accessory design, leather design, textile, so many different areas. You can also, of course, look at photography. I will, however, caveat this. So areas like photography or theater or music do tend to be slightly high risk professions because there's no perfect guarantee you're going to make it. So it's always important to definitely have a degree in your hand and then pursue these side by side in case you want to. But it is important to be able to pursue your dreams. So just be smart about how you do that and be able to ensure that you have something to fall back on. All right. So these are some of the areas we wanted to cover with you. I know I've thrown a lot of data your way. Please use the Mindler platform to be able to help you understand these in greater detail. There are articles, there are blogs. You'll be able to look at so much more information over there. All right, so thank you very much. I'm complete with what I wanted to say. Thank you. Any doubts or questions, please ask. Yes.
Shilpa, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Mrs. Kumar here. Thank you so much. I think you've given us at a very, very rapid pace, a lot of insight into what all there is. And I'm sure there are 1,000 other things.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, every day.
Options today. But, the first part of your session where they have to take the assessments, I just don't think the children would have followed all the details. This platform is such, it does take a little time for people to understand by the time you upload a presentation. So I'll just request the children not to do the assessment yet. We'll run an internal exercise once again with them, Shilpa.
Sure.
And, just whatever you shared with us, what Vaishnavi shared in the introductory session, the children need to actually understand that this is an opportunity for them to see what is around. It's for them. It's not for anybody else.
Absolutely.
It's not for your parents. It's not for the school. It's not for Mindler. When you're being exposed to all this is because we want you to understand your own selves first. And what is it that you want? Because we want you to be happy in whatever professions you choose.
Yeah.
And, today you make a wrong choice. 5 years down the line, you'll be getting upset. And 10 years down the line, you'll be unhappy with what you're doing. So once you're going into something, knowing fully well what is it that you're interested in, what is it that you have an aptitude for, it's going to be a lot more fun for you. Your job is not going to be a job. It'll be an adventure. It'll be something very exciting. And definitely you're going to be more successful if you do something that you enjoy doing.
Yes.
So we are not going to hurry into the assessment. We give ourselves one internal session.
Ma'am, may I come in for a
Yeah,
moment?
just give me a second. Let me just finish. And what I'm trying to tell you is that this assessment, we are not judging you. So I would request Shilpa and Vaishnavi to reinforce that this is not about how good you are, how bad you are, how good you are at art or how good you are at maths, nothing of that sort. If you don't know something, you'll have to take this assessment very, very honestly. Only then will they be able to support you.
Yeah.
So
I'll just add to that. Yeah. I'll add to that to
Yeah,
supplement what ma'am is saying, so that then I very rudely cut her off. My apologies.
No,
But
I'm so
like
sorry.
ma'am said,
So
no,
sorry.
ma'am said very correctly, this is not an exam. It's not a test. Okay. I don't need to know how good you are with maths or do you know your English. This is a self-assessment. Look at it that way. I get to find out where are my strengths and what do I need to work on. That is what this assessment is telling you. Okay. And in that light, what it helps me do is understand you better. So that when I'm able to look at your report, I'm able to understand better where your strengths are. If you understand yourself better, basically, if you are going to lie on the assessment and say, Acha, or I do cheating and somebody else does the math section for me, आप basically अपने आप से झूठ बोल रहे हो, because then I will get the wrong picture and you will also have the wrong picture. गलत से हम आपको दूसरी चीज बोलेंगे करने के लिए, वो आपका स्ट्रेंथ एरिया होगा नहीं, आप फिर अगले 2 साल के लिए परेशान हो, या आप करियर वैसा चूज करोगे जिसमें आप परेशान हो जाओगे. Be honest with yourself. Don't try to give socially acceptable answers. If there is a question over there that says that there is a slice of cake and you need to be able to share this slice of cake, or you can eat it yourself and it's your favorite cake, you want to eat it yourself, you don't like giving it to anyone, say, I don't want to give, I'll eat it myself. It's okay, because I don't know what you marked. I only get a composite score. So nobody is judging. There's no judgment. This is not a test. It's not like I did better than you did, he did better, हम कोई fail हुआ, कोई pass हुआ, nothing. It is an analysis of yourself.
So, for a question like that, nobody is going to tell you, oh, you're very selfish or you're very mean. Nobody is going to tell you that. The whole idea is they just want to understand your personality. Maybe, different people work in different ways. Maybe I'm a loner. I like to work alone. I'm best when I work on my own. And so I must look for careers where I have the opportunity to work like that. But there may be people who love to share their things, they collaborate well, they work together in teams. And so for them, they will look at careers which gives them an opportunity for that. So this is exactly what they're looking at when they're conducting the assessment. And so ma'am has just told you, you're not being judged. Nobody's going to send you a report that you topped the list and you came second. And sorry, you were very poor because you were not helpful, or you were very rude, or you were very, selfish. Nobody's going to give you those statements. Right, ma'am?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Sangeet, ma'am, you wanted to say something? Please come in.
Yeah, ma'am. I wanted to say that I've requested Vaishnavi to just take us through that whole procedure one more time for the benefit of the students who joined late.
Just very quickly, at least we know what the websites are, then we can do it once with them also, because if they join late, which I just made it, I had some crazy issues, but those who joined late, we sent you time at 5:15, and so we have no excuse. Please children, remember one thing, this session is for you all. It's not for us, it's not for the trainers. I mean, for the Mindler team, it's been organized specially for you, because it's very, very important that you understand what is happening around you, how the world is moving. And so I think punctuality, you are moving into careers, so punctuality is a very important thing. And if you didn't join at 5:15, I'm sorry, you are the losers. So Sangeet ma'am, maybe on the side you can, I think they're also running out of time. If Vaishnavi could just take us to that site, And
Yes.
in 2 minutes, give us this thing, then I think we'll be able to work on it.
Right.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Right. So quickly, so the website you have to go to is mindler.com, and this is where whatever email ID and password we have shared with you, you have to enter that email ID and password, and you will be able to go to your personalized dashboard. This is where your assessment, your report, career library blog, everything will be. So once you click on the start test, you will have instructions for each of the section. Each section has its own instructions, and only the aptitude section has timer. Rest everything has no time. The only thing which you have to keep in mind is aptitude section will require you to calculate. So make sure you have your pen and paper with you. And when you are doing that, you do it at one go. So aptitude section has to be done together. Rest all the sections, you can take your own time. If you want to take break in between, you can do that. And we will re-emphasize the fact that please be honest when you are answering, because this report will help you understand out of the pool of careers we have, what are the best fit careers for you, which all careers you can consider, which all subjects you can consider. And the more accurate you are with respect to your answers, the system will be able to give you the answers or the report also accurately. It is a very simple assessment, and all the instructions are very clearly mentioned before each section. So go ahead and take the assessment, and once you're done with your assessment, immediately you get your best fit career matches. You can click on the explore this career option to go ahead and read about these careers, what these careers entail, how do you get into that career, what are the different colleges, what are the entrance exam to be given for this. In addition to this, you have one comprehensive career report, which is basically a detailed analysis of each of the trait we tried measuring you on. So right from the meaning of that trait to what score you have, what is the expert analysis, to how you can improve. So something like a development plan is also shared with you. So go ahead and read the entire report whenever you get time. And then you can access the career library and blogs, as I mentioned last time as well. All of it is available to you on your dashboard. It will be available to you for 1 year. So don't be in hurry when you're taking the assessment. Whenever you are fresh, start the assessment. Whenever you feel that you're tired or you're bored, leave that there and then. The system will pause by itself, and you can come back whenever you feel fresh. And if you have any query, you can reach out to us at hello@mindler.com. I'll just share the email ID here.
Yeah, be able to pause all sections, and I underscore except the aptitude section. That is time. Do not leave that in the middle.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. There was Nitesh Chaudhary raising his hand. Nitesh, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
So, ma'am, I wanted to ask a question like, what are the career options which get you placed in your early 20s?
All career options will do that as long as you're good at something. It depends really. You don't choose a job based on what will get you placed. Choose a job and based on what you're going to be good at. And you are going to switch careers and areas a lot of times in your life. You'll reinvent yourself. So it's an important thing for you to first figure out where your strengths lie and be able to pick something that you're going to be good at. If you're good, you're going to get a job right away. It's not just about placement. The focus can't be placement. The focus has to be building your skill. So just think about that a little bit before you start deciding what you want to do.
Okay, thank you so
much. What if it doesn't sit with your strength areas? It's pretty pointless, no? What if I tell you being astronaut will get you placed? But if you're not going to be in your strength area, then that can't be your criteria. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa ma'am. Anybody else? Any more questions? There were a whole lot of hands going up when ma'am was talking. I think, Shilpa ma'am, you managed to answer all the questions.
One tries.
So anybody else who'd like to? So Sangeet ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. So I think the session has been very useful to all of us. We are able to find out how to reach that assessment platform and take the assessment. And thank you, Shilpa ma'am, for guiding us through so many career options that are there. And
Can I just add something here? Shilpa ma'am also mentioned a documentary called Social Dilemma. I think we should all watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to find time to watch it also.
Absolutely
So
worth
make a
it.
note
Very
of it.
good.
We can share the name with on the chat box, in the chat box. Then she also mentioned something very, very, very interesting, and that was doing a data analytical skill online course.
Yeah.
Shilpa ma'am, I just want to ask you, anybody can do it?
Anybody can. You do need to be a little comfortable with numbers because there will be an aspect related to understanding statistics. But see, statistics are also a part of psychology. They're also a part of sociology. So if there is commerce, definitely. So if you have a little bit of a comfort with numbers, you would be able to look at it. At least make it an exploratory aspect of where you can explore data analytics, because we're going to use those elements everywhere. So you're being conversant with it, understanding a little bit, even that will help. Even if you're not like a crack at it and absolutely brilliant at it, but at least get comfortable around the terminology and why and where it's used. So doing a free online course will always help.
So what you recommend is, if you're comfortable with numbers and statistics, we should try.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of those things that's data analytics.
Pre-online data.
Yeah. It's just online. You'll have a lot of introduction to data analysis, introduction to data analytics kind of courses, depending whichever platform you want, Udemy, Coursera, whatever, your choice. But just pick a free course so you're not spending too much, and pick something. If you get really excited and interested by it, you do well, you want to pay for a certification, by all means. But I'm asking everyone to just get comfortable with it a little bit, so that it's a good tool to have in your kitty.
Thank you so much. I think that's a great suggestion. And the last thing that I remember you all mentioning is to go through the Mindler website, because the library and the website.
Yes.
And to begin with, I'll request all the children, all the students, teachers, if you haven't been through the website, please go through it. And it's always good to go through these things along with your parents, so that they also know what is happening. And later when you are making choices, it'll be a lot more easier for you if your parents have been with you in this journey. Because later, otherwise you get into conflict, because dad doesn't understand why you want to take up a particular profession, because maybe he hasn't heard of it. So, which is not true. I think most parents are also reading up a lot these days. So do this, go through the Mindler website. This is for all of us.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Back to you, Sangeet ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And also, ma'am also mentioned, and Vaishnavi mentioned about the blogs that are there. I think those would also be a useful read for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
The blogs. It was the blogs on the website. Yes.
Yeah, yes. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We look forward to seeing you all again.
Yes, thank you so much. Take care. Thank you, everybody.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye. Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
You all may leave now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.